Every After Effects release comes with a long list of new features. Some are big headline tools like 3D meshes or substar materials, and then there are the quiet little updates that Adobe sneaks in without much noise. The problem is that many of these small improvements are actually incredibly useful and most users never notice them. So in this video, I'll show you 10 After Effects updates that everybody misses. But once you know they exist, they can seriously improve your workflow. From hidden interface tweaks to surprisingly powerful 3D tricks. These are the kind of features that make you say, wait, this was here all along? Duh. Alright, let's dig in. First one is Reveal Project in the file system. And to demonstrate it, I'll select the project panel, right-click and choose Reveal Project in Finder or in Explorer on the Windows side. And this is just going to open up the directory, basically the file path, and will show you the project that you are working on. A cool little feature that will help you find stuff quickly and easily. The next one is Copy and Paste Only Text Formatting. So to illustrate it, I've got this message, courtesy of Grandmaster Flash and the Furious 5. And let's say that we want to reformat some of the text here. So I'll double click in order to get into the text. And first I'm just going to cut the first line. Now I'm just going to paste it over here near the title. And you can see this is by default After Effects behavior. Now I do want to respect this formatting. So what I'll do is I'll undo the last operation and then I'll highlight the title. I'll go to the edit menu and I'll select paste text and match formatting. You also have a keyboard shortcut of Command-Shift-B. And this is going to do exactly what I want. Now you can do the other way around. So you can double click to copy something. So just select the word or even just a single character and press Command-C to copy it. And then I'll select this line and I'll go again to the edit menu. This time I'll select paste text formatting only, which is going to reformat this text using the same style. Another cool feature is the ability to customize the panel background colors. And to illustrate it, I'll make sure that I'm zooming out so we'll have a lot of real estate, or at least some real estate around my composition. Then I'll go to these options and then you have these panel background color options. So by default it's set to medium gray, but you can switch it to black if this is what you want, maybe a dark day or maybe a white day, or you know what, maybe something that you want to choose. So either select custom here or just click on this. It's going to bring the color picker, which will allow you to select any color you like. This is going to be the new panel background color. And another minor thing is the ability to customize the transparency grids. So again, to illustrate it, I'll click to toggle the transparency grid. And let's go to the end where we can actually see it. And as you can see, my transparency grid is different than the default one. And the way to achieve it is to go to the settings and then immediately go to grids and guides. And over here, we have the new options. So you can change the grid size. Let's go with large. You can set the grid colors. So you have few presets. Let's select purple. And of course, you can customize them. So if I'll click OK now, I have a different transparency grid, which makes me personally very happy. Another one that can help you when you're working with 3D is to modify your default camera settings. And to illustrate how this works, I'll double click in order to get into this composition. I'll press C to demonstrate that those layers are dispersed in 3D space. Now, by default, After Effects will select the 50mm camera for you if you didn't say otherwise. And you can change your mind here by going to this pop-up menu and click on Default Camera Settings. This is going to bring the Camera Settings dialog. Notice that I don't have a camera in this scene, but I can still choose a different preset. So let's go with 24mm, and this is going to give me a different lens. So if I'll dolly in, I've got something which is a better starting point in this case. And again, every time that I'll go to this menu and choose Reset Default Camera, it will reset itself to whatever I defined. Now, if you enjoy discovering these little hidden gems inside After Effects, consider subscribing. I promise to keep digging even more so you don't have to read the release notes. All right, let's move on to the next one, which is also very useful. Single 3D Gizmo for multiple layers. And we can see that underneath there is a Lego cube. So let's just double click in order to visit this composition. I actually built a Lego cube from a lot of meshes. So these are all native 3D shapes and text. But notice what happens when I'm going to select, let's say, this text over here, and then I'm going to shift select everything. In previous versions, if you select multiple 3D objects, each one gets its own gizmo. Handling lots of gizmos at once can sometimes slow things down, especially with higher render settings. So using one shared 3D gizmo, as we can see here, for multiple layers, helps to avoid that. Now, by default, it will select the last one. So if you want to switch this gizmo to another layer, all you need to do is hold down Command here to make Control on Windows, and then click and click again on this layer to move the gizmo over here. And this is going to help you to just see everything a little bit better and move everything in one go. Now, in this case, if I'll change the rotation, it's just going to break the entire thing here. It's a little bit difficult to see, so I'll press Command-Shift-H to hide this. So in these circumstances, your best bet is to actually create a null object, which will be the parent for the entire thing and will allow you to move, transform, and rotate all your 3D layers at once. Next is maintain workspace when opening projects. And to illustrate it, I'll go to the File menu, choose Open Project, and I'll open up this project that I created 10 years ago. And notice it opens up in the workspace that I left it with, which is the Paint workspace. So while we're here, let's just preview it. And this is, by the way, using one of the least used features in After Effects, the Paint tools. Let me know in the comments below if you want me to revive it from the dead. I couldn't help myself, I'm sorry, but David Bowie is one of my heroes. Anyhow, back to the topic. So let's say that from this point onward, every time that I'm opening those older projects, I actually want them to respect the current workspace that I'm using. In this case, the default workspace. If this is the case, go to the Settings, Preferences on the Windows side, and hop into the Project category and check this option, Maintain Current Workspace when opening projects. And this is going to automatically reformat your older projects to the current workspace. So if I'm going to switch back to the project that I was using in order to demonstrate it, as you can see, it keeps the same interface without moving any of my panels. Next up is extract the camera from a 3D model. So these days, if I open up this composition, we'll see that After Effects, of course, support 3D models. Now, if there is an animation inside, make this octopus animate, which is going to look like this. But did you know that you can select the model, go to the layer menu, and then under camera, extract the camera that was used in the scene. So you can create cameras, if you have more than one, from the embedded 3D model. If I'll select it, here I have my redshift camera, which is something that I left inside Cinema 4D just in order to demonstrate it, and it is actually moving. So this camera, if I'll press U, has keyframes for every single frame. Brilliant. Next up is control light with camera. And to illustrate it, I'll double click on this cop where I have this astronaut with some title, and I want to light the astronaut a little bit better. So for that, I'll go to Layer, New, and I'll create a new light. Now this feature works with spot and parallel light. I'll choose spot in this case. I'll make sure that I'm casting shadows and I'll click OK. Now spotlight as well as parallel lights are a little bit tricky in After Effects when you want to place them. You can use the gizmo and you can move to more than one view, but here is a cool trick. You can select the light in the timeline, then go to Layer, and then under Light, you have the ability to control the light with the camera. And this is going to create a utility camera, which is basically connected to the light by expressions. And now we are viewing the light position using the camera. So I can use 1, 2, and 3. Those are the hotkeys for orbiting the camera and moving it to a different location. And I can just place it through the lens of the light, if you will, which is going to give me exactly what I'm looking for. So perhaps something like this. Then I'll switch off the visibility of the camera and you can see where my light is, exactly where I need it to be. We can turn it on and off to see the contribution. And this is going to save you some time and frustration when you want to put the light exactly where it needs to be. And this brings us to the last feature, create a 3D environment background. So I'll escape out of full screen. I'll return back to the same composition. Arguably, we can make it a little bit better when it comes to lighting here. Specifically, I want to reflect those areas in the helmet as well as use them to light the scene. But I also want everything to work together. Let me explain what I'm after. I'll press C in order to get to the camera tools. And if I'll orbit around, you can see the astronaut and the text are part of the unified world, but not the environment. So I'll undo, and what I'll do, I'll create an environment light. So going to new light, this time I'll choose environment. I don't need to cast shadows in this case. I'll just click OK. This is going to brighten up the entire scene, which is totally up to you. You can change the intensity however you like. But the best part is that we can actually use a source in order for the light to work. You already know this. I'm just going to choose the layer that I have underneath, which is going to switch it off. But now at least we can see it reflected in the helmet. So what I actually want is to bring the layer back so it's going to look like a one unified 3D world. And in order to do it, make sure the light is selected in the timeline. Then go to Layer, Light, and this time we want to create Environment Light Background Layer. So I'll select it and I'll close the light over here. You can see that I've got a new adjustment layer underneath everything. And for this layer, we have the CC environment applied automatically and a fast box blur. So I'm going to tune it down to perhaps just 1 pixel. I don't think it needs to be so much blurred. But notice what happens now when I move around the scene here. This is projecting the entire HDRI image. And by the way, you can do it with any image on top of the layers, and it's still rendering it in the viewport, which is great. So let's enable the other camera that I have here, and then I'll preview it. Notice that I'm using Draft 3D, so everything is working in real time, and this looks so much better and so much more believable than what we had before. So those are 10 After Effects features that Adobe added and apparently forgot to brag about. Now I'm curious, which one of these did you already know about, and which one surprised you the most? Let me know in the comments. I love to see which one of these hidden gems people are actually using. And if you enjoyed this one, check out the next video right here for more tricks, more workflow magic, and less friction.